Come, settle in, and let the day's concerns drift away. Tonight, we do not visit a castle or a monastery. We journey to the edge of the medieval town, to a small, lonely house that stands apart from the others. It belongs to a man everyone needs, but no one wants to know. Forget the image of a hulking monster in a black hood, a villain who delights in his grim work. The truth is far more complex and far more tragic. We are here to understand the man who was the final hand of justice, and why you would never survive a day in his solitary, silent world. He is the executioner. Let us call him John. His day does not begin with the cheerful sounds of the market, but with a quiet that feels heavy, like a shroud. His house is sturdy, but no neighbor will build too close. When he walks into town, a strange ripple effect occurs. Conversations stop. Mothers pull their children closer. Men avert their eyes and make a small sign against evil as he passes. His touch is considered a stain, his presence an omen. This is the first reason you wouldn't survive. The crushing, absolute loneliness. He is the living ghost of the town. His work is not merely the final swing of an axe. He is the state's instrument of pain. When the law demands a confession, it is John who is summoned to the dungeons to operate the rack. When a thief is sentenced to be branded, it is John's hand that heats the iron until it glows. He is the one who must perform the mutilations ordered by the court, the removal of a hand or an ear. He is the keeper of the town's darkest duties, a specialist in a trade no one wants to learn. In his small yard, he cares for his tools with a craftsman's precision. There is the great heavy axe, its edge honed to a razor's sharpness. A dull axe is not a mercy. It is a butcher's tool that turns an execution into a horrifying spectacle. There is the long sword, balanced and heavy, reserved for the beheading of nobles. And there are the ropes, the branding irons, the grim implements of his trade. He cares for them not out of malice, but out of a professional's grim pride. A clean job is the only mercy he is allowed to give. This is the second reason you wouldn't survive. The immense psychological burden. He is not a killer hiding in the shadows. He performs his duty in the stark light of day, on a wooden scaffold in the center of the town square, before the eyes of hundreds. He must be the calmest man in a sea of morbid curiosity, grief, and hatred. Imagine the day of an execution. John walks from his home, the tools of his trade carried by a grim-faced assistant. The crowd parts before him, a wall of silent judgment. On the scaffold, he stands with the condemned. He must listen to their final prayers, their last desperate words to the crowd. He must ignore the jeers, the tears, and the hurled insults. His mind must be a fortress of absolute calm. And then comes the moment, the heavy silence of the crowd, the prayer from the priest. John must calculate the swing, the angle, the force. His hands cannot shake, his nerve cannot break. A single, clean strike. This is the mark of a master. But the risk of failure is a constant nightmare. A missed swing, a partial blow. Such a mistake would not only prolong the suffering of the condemned, but could incite the crowd to a riot. they would turn on him in an instant, their morbid fascination turning to rage. There is no room for error in his profession. This is the final reason you wouldn't survive. The aftermath. After the grim work is done, after the crowd disperses, whispering and sickened, John is left alone with the silence. He cleans his tools meticulously. He is paid a fee for his service, a pouch of coins that feels heavier than any metal should. But the money cannot buy him acceptance. He cannot go to the tavern and share a drink with the other craftsmen. He cannot share the burden of his day. He returns to his lonely house. His children, who bear his name, are shunned at the market. His wife is seen as the partner to an unclean man. They live with the consequences of his profession, an island in the midst of the very community he serves. The life of a medieval executioner was the ultimate paradox. He was an essential gear in the machine of law and order, yet he was considered filth. He was a symbol of the king's power, yet he had no social standing of his own. He was tasked with delivering the final justice, but lived a life of profound injustice. He was not a monster. He was a man trapped in a role that society created and then despised him for filling. So, as you find comfort in your bed and drift towards sleep, spare a thought for that lonely figure, the man who shouldered the heaviest burden of all, and who walked home alone, carrying a silence that no amount of noise could ever fill.